Thank you so very much again, Nineequa. I would like to really extend my sincere gratitude and appreciation to my hosts and co-hosts and everybody who's here, but also to really want to say thank you to Edwidge Danticat for taking the time to be here with us, and Councilor Ruthzee for taking the time also for being here, and Catherine, Michelle DeGraff, and every one of you who's here, because it meant the world to us to share really JAE, because I think it's something that I've been wanting to do in Boston for so long, and I wanted to do it in person, but now we are doing it on Zoom. But it's still beautiful to see all these beautiful faces here. So thank you again for being here and the co-host. But I would like to really share the mission of JAE. The mission of JAE is really to create access to communities and also to young kids, to give them access to dance, to movement, because we feel like dance is healing. And to me, I find the healing through dance. When I was in Haiti, seeing everything that's happening now, I witnessed them in Haiti, and I had my father being killed in Haiti, 1991. So dance was a way for me to get back my life again. So to me, I feel like JAE's purpose and mission is really to trying to remove those stigmas, but also to really help kids overcome all the traumas that they may face in any communities, not only Haiti, but we do it everywhere. So for me, I feel like very pleased to be able to be here with you and share with you also what we did in Dominican Republic this year with the help of my dear friend here, Raphaëlle Francois, that I've known for so long, able to connect us with many communities around Dominican Republic. And when we went there, and people received us with open arms. So at the same time, we feel very, I don't know, challenged from the energy that's going on between Haiti and Dominican Republic. But every time we come together to dance, we felt like people were so receptive of how we were coming in and sharing our talent with them. So for that, I just would like to continue to say, please stay with us, because we want to continue to that trajectory that we are going, and we feel like, you know, your help and your energy truly help us to continue to move mountains. So for that, I would like to pass it on to Miss Megan McGrath, who are my executive director, and truly appreciate her.
Thank you, Jean. I would love to hear you share, before I take it over and introduce people, a little bit about the Summer Institute this past year and why it was special to you, especially the fact that we were in the DR and in Lawrence again, and connecting with our students in Haiti as well.
To me, I feel like dancing is for the people, as Mr. Alvanelli said it many times. But also, I think I have one of my mentors here, Nineequa Blanding, who really said to me, you need to go back to your country. Because when I first brought Nineequa to Haiti in 2006, and Nineequa was like, oh my God, this is amazing that we can have this space and the people moving like this and the drums. She said to me, Jean, you definitely need to go back to your country. So for me, I think starting that program was really the essence of like bringing back something that I did not have when I was growing up in dance in Haiti. And to see the way the young kids were so eager to learn new dance, new techniques, and be able to really feel like they were releasing all their emotions. So for me, I felt like I wanted to bring that to Haiti. And that's why we started the program in 2006 together with Nineequa, and it ended up blowing up like it is right now. We are in Dominican Republic, we are in Lawrence. And Lawrence, we've been in Lawrence for the past 4 years. And we felt like the beginning of Culturel Colecciones, trying to really bring Haiti together with Dominican Republic in Lawrence. That's what we wanted to do. And we didn't know that we were going to be going to Dominican Republic this past summer. But when we started 4 years ago, it's because we really wanted to have Haitian and also Dominican kids growing up in the US in Lawrence to be part of this major connection that we wanted to build. And we have so many people, Gigi, who is from Dominican Republic, who associated with us from that project that we did, Culturel Conexiones. And we felt like this program needs to be spreading more around. And when we had Raphaëlle told us that she can connect us with some people in Dominican Republic, that was a dream come true. And being able to bring our young kids from Haiti, 5 of them who studied with us on Zoom for the past 2 years, and bringing them to Dominican Republic to be live with us with our other kids was just magical. And we had 67 kids in Dominican Republic. And I think in Lawrence, we had over 30 kids who were in Lawrence Hospital with us. And for me, all the pictures that you're seeing, that's the magic and the beauty that we able to create with those kids. And those kids really help us to bring our own healing to our lives to be able to do all this thing that we did.
Thank you, Jean. Yeah, and I think we have just a really short video to share with you that highlights the history of the Summer Dance Institute and really what was unique about this summer. So I'll let BC play that for us, please. BC, the sound doesn't seem to be on. Maybe unmute. All right, some technical difficulties. So seems like the video is not working, and that's okay. One more try.
Beginning in 2006, Jean Appolon has directed a free summer dance institute serving young, aspiring dancers who do not have regular access to dance education. Over the last 16 years, Jean Appolon Expressions has provided dance education to over 1,000 students across all backgrounds, both in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and Lawrence, Massachusetts. Students benefit from JAE Summer Dance Institute in numerous ways. In addition to overcoming obstacles to get an education, the daily challenges for these students are many. Dance heals body, mind, and spirit and is associated with many positive outcomes. It also promotes professional and personal development for many dancers, and many of JAE's previous Summer Dance Institute attendees have gone on to dance professionally and teach dance in Haiti and across the United States. The 16th Annual Summer Dance Institute will be hosted in partnership with Lakhu Dance Studio in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, and Dizizwe Dance Studio in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Even though we have been prevented from physically traveling to Haiti for the last few years due to COVID-19 and civil unrest, we have continued to maintain a connection between dancers in Boston and Haiti. The 2022 program focuses on the theme of Cultural Conexiones, meaning cultural connections in Haitian Creole and Spanish, and is set to highlight the similarities and cross-cultural connections between the Dominican Republic and Haiti, with dance as the main point of harmony. JAE and the Center for the Arts in Port-au-Prince are working together to bring a small group of our Haitian teen apprentices to this program. These girls have danced consistently with JAE in a virtual space since 2020, and now it's time to bring some of them to our in-person program. We will also have our master drummers from Haiti accompanying the dance classes each day in the Dominican Republic, bringing the rhythmic beauty and power of Haitian folkloric movement and culture to this neighboring country. This summer programming is completely free for all participants. JAE would not be able to continue to bring this programming to our communities here and abroad without your help. As a JAE donor, you become an essential part of the Jean Appolon Expressions family. From underwriting JAE's dynamic performances and accessible educational programming for students in Boston, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, to providing a lunch for a student in our free Summer Dance Institute, every donation counts and every donation makes a difference. Please give today.
All right, and with no further ado, I am honored to introduce to you our speakers tonight. For our opening remarks, we have two incredible leaders in Boston working to promote the well-being of our communities. You'll first hear from Ruthzee Louijeune, Boston City Councilor At-Large, who is working to make Boston an equitable and thriving city for everyone. A grounding, thoughtful, and inclusive leader, her tenure is historic. She is the first Haitian-American elected to represent Boston citywide. Yay, this is amazing. Ruthzee is working to bring our neighborhoods together, where shared prosperity is the foundation of a just and equitable Boston. She is a graduate of Boston Public Schools, Columbia University, Harvard Law School, and Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Can't wait to hear from you, Ruthzee. Thank you for being with us. Next, we will hear
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
No, I'm early. Go ahead.
I'll get you back later. Next, we will hear from Catherine Morris, Director of the Arts and Culture at Boston Foundation. Catherine works to create systems transformation in the arts and culture sector while creating inclusive public spaces that also uplift the work of Black artists and artists of color in the city. Catherine is the founder and artistic director of BAMS Fest, which has employed, supported, and presented more than 400 local artists, provided more than 350 jobs to creative entrepreneurs, activated dozens of public spaces, and has attracted over 12,000 attendees to their programs. And JAE got to be a huge part of that this summer. So thank you, Catherine, for that. Catherine has been a presenter, panelist, and moderator with Spark Boston, Podcast Garage, Berklee College of Music, Emerson College, Northeastern University, Simmons University, MIT, and the Museum of Fine Arts. She is a 2018 National Art Strategies Creative Community Fellow at the Boston Foundation. Thank you, Catherine, for joining us tonight, and I can't wait to hear more from you. We'll then move into our panel discussion on hope, healing, and connecting. We're honored to be joined by our panelists. Edwidge Danticat, one of our beloved novelists of this time, is here this evening with us again. Edwidge is an acclaimed Haitian-American writer. She wrote her first short story at the age of 14. Her first novel, Breath, Eyes, Memory, was published in 1994 and captured so many of our hearts. It went on to become Oprah's book club selection. Danticat has since written and edited several books, including children's books, many of which we use at JAE in our kids' classes. And she has been the recipient of many awards and honors, including the prestigious MacArthur Genius Grant. A strong advocate for social justice, in 2009, she lent her voice and words to Potomitan, Haitian Women Pillars of the Global Economy, a documentary about the impact of globalization on 5 women from different generations. She received a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from Brown University, and we are honored to have you with us tonight, Edwidge. We also have Raphaëlle Francois, a dear friend and colleague who is an amazing dancer and youth educator in the Dominican Republic. She leads the educational programming for JAE in Santo Domingo, DR, and coordinates activities with JAE's US programming in Massachusetts. Francois trained in several dance styles such as modern, jazz, contemporary, classical, ballroom, Afro-contemporary, and Haitian folkloric. She began her training at the age of 9 as a member of the esteemed Archo Dance School Company. She then performed in various institutions such as the Tokyo National Ballet, Courtier in Paris, Carnegie Hall in New York, the Ballet Hispanico in New York, and the Ballet Roteau in the DR. Thank you for being with us tonight, Raphaëlle. Can't wait to hear from you as well. In addition to being the founder and artistic director of Jean Appolon Expressions, Jean Appolon is a successful choreographer and master teacher. His original choreography includes Voyage, Engagé, and Traka, all of which are centered in social justice, themes such as immigration, LGBTQ rights, and mental health. His training began at a young age in Port-au-Prince with Viviane Gauthier and the Folkloric Ballet of Haiti. Appolon's education continued with Harvard and Radcliffe Dance Program and the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. also the Joffrey Ballet School, and finally a degree from the New School in 2002. He's a 2014 inductee of the 1804 list of Haitian-American changemakers, and he has received numerous awards and recognition in media outlets, including the Boston Globe and NPR. Appolon is a member of the International Association of Blacks in Dance and the Boston Dance Alliance. And thank you, Jean, for being an amazing colleague, friend, and mentor. And finally, we have our dear Nineequa Blanding, who has put this whole event together in such a beautiful way. Nineequa is a consultant at JAE and will lead today's panel. She's a public health leader who has dedicated the entirety of her professional career towards working at the intersection of health and social justice. She possesses over 15 years of leadership experience and values the role of arts and culture to drive transformation towards improved social change. Most recently, she has served as the Vice President at Health Resources in Action. Nineequa also previously served as the Director of Health and Wellness at the Boston Foundation, where she applied her vision, leadership, and racial equity lens to develop, implement, and evaluate one of the Foundation's strategic priorities to improve population health and advance health equity. She's held senior leadership positions at the Boston Public Health Commission and has previously worked with Mount Sinai School of Medicine and the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Thank you, Nineequa, for everything you do for JAE and for really pulling this beautiful event together tonight. So each speaker will share their perspective on the arts as a pathway for hope, healing, and connection this evening. And I would like to please welcome back City Councilor Ruthzee Louijeune.
Thank you very much, Meg. Thank you to everyone. Good evening. Bonsoir tout le monde for all of my Creole speakers on the line. It brings me such joy to be here. During the pre-call, we were talking about how I am just fangirling all of the amazing people, from Jean Appolon to Edwidge, my favorite writer of all times, to so many people like Catherine Morris, who puts on an amazing arts festival here in the city of Boston, BAM's Fest that JAE was at, and people were getting their lives dancing, learning these Haitian folkloric dances. And so it was just so beautiful. And so it's a point of privilege for me to be among all of you this evening. Boston is home for me, and I am grateful for all of those who are joining, and it's a pleasure to welcome you. I'm coming to you live from the Children's Museum, where we are welcoming kindergartners back to school in the city of Boston. Also an important place for us to uplift the arts, because research shows that the more that students are exposed to the arts, the more likely they are to come to school, and the more you see a decrease in absenteeism. So I'm excited to see JAE's efforts to preserve and uplift Haitian culture in this way, that benefits us all through dance as a means of expression and as a means of healing. I'm not sure if folks know, but Boston has the third largest Haitian diaspora in the country, and Haitian culture is very much a part of the fabric of our collective identity here in the city. I am the first person elected to Boston City Council of Haitian descent, but I promise not to be the last. And I come in the footsteps of a former Haitian state senator and a former Haitian state representative who have all been supportive of me and who believe in lifting as we climb. In my role as an at-large city councilor, I bring the breadth of my experience, culture, and commitment to community well-being to advocate for the policies that matter most to working class families like mine, that matter most to Black and Brown families. We all deserve to live in dignity-affirming neighborhoods. We all deserve access to arts. We all deserve to experience our basic needs, a roof over our heads, food on the table, a dignity-affirming job, and access to quality education. I was born here in the city in Mattapan and Hyde Park. Those are two neighborhoods with the largest Haitian populations here in the city of Boston. I live right on the border of Mattapan and Hyde Park, which is also a point of pride for me. So everywhere I go, I run into my people. As a young person, I saw how hard my parents worked as Black immigrants to this country, treated, so unfairly, but still grinded it out to create a better life for me and my 3 sisters. My grandmother came from Haiti for 3 years when we were younger to help raise us. And she was our homework enforcer when we were younger. And I didn't realize until my 20s that my grandmother is actually, she can't read or write, but she was dreaming into my sisters and to me and my sisters' dreams of our future that she couldn't see for herself as a young woman growing up, as a young girl who grew up in Haiti where education wasn't centered in her life. And so I'm grateful for all of the women in my family and at large on whose shoulders I stand, because they're the ones who really taught me to believe in what Boston can become. And I know that we can work together to center equity. And I always like to define equity. And another thing I love about JAE is that there's not only is it about dance, but it's about centering this sense of cultural equity in everything that we do. And for me, it's important to define equity as a corrective action we need to take for the policy harms that we have committed in the past, and that the work that we need to do to correct for those harms. And so we can do that through multiple ways. I do that, and I'm trying to do that every day through policy on Boston City Council. Just here at the museum, I ran into a Haitian family that is here, that they don't speak English. They, school starts next week and they have no idea where their student is going to school. And I have been harping on Boston Public Schools that they need to do a better job of communicating with our parents where English is not their native language. And so I pulled a BPS administrator aside, and I pulled the family aside, and I was doing translating and making sure that she had the resources and the transportation that she needs so that her student can start, so her child can start school next week. And then she told me that, and she pulled me aside and whispered in my ear, for the last 3 years, my family has been living in a shelter. And I told her that that is not something to be ashamed about, that we fail repeatedly, our residents here, and I and the city of Boston are going to do everything we can to find her permanent shelter. So that's just a bit of the work that I'm doing here in the city of Boston. So much of the work is about the hard work, but it's also about uplifting joy. And so much of what JAE is doing every day is about teasing out that traka that Jean Appolon talks about, but also bringing in the joy of our experience, the joy of our liberation as the first free Black republic in the Western Hemisphere, the only country founded out of a slave revolt, and how we express that through our dance and our music. And so I am so incredibly excited whenever, I am a lawyer by training. I can hold a beat and I can do a little two-step, but I'm always excited when I'm in the room with people whose calling is dance and is art, because I am inspired by your ability to use your brain and your body to do work that I am trying to do, just in a different way. And to repeat what I've said before, there's so much research that shows the strong ties between cultural art strategies, social cohesion, and community well-being. When I think about what collective well-being means for our city, I'm heartened to know that there exists a vibrant group of leaders like Jean and Catherine Morris, who I talked about, and who you'll hear from right after I stop talking. I'm an elected, so I can talk a lot, so I'm gonna stop soon, that are working to make cultural arts accessible to all of us in the city of Boston. So I look forward to our discussion today. I look forward to hearing from Edwidge and to so many others, to Raphaëlle, to so many others who are on this call, about how we foster hope, healing, and connection among our young people through the Summer Dance Institute programming. I hope you're excited as I am to hear from the panelists and artists who inspire so many of us through your messages of hope. I thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to demand that if you haven't read an Edwidge book, that you read one. The last, Everything Inside, the collection of short stories, is just a marvelous piece of work. So thank you to all of you who write, who dance, who direct, who do all you can to bring art to the fore. We are incredibly indebted to you here as a city. And I continue to learn from you all every day. So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna pass it on to Catherine Morris from the Boston Foundation, also of BAMS Fest, who's going to grace us with some words.
Well, thank you, Councilor Ruthzee. I know that I could see your excitement clearly, and it's an honor to just be in a virtual space with you and the JAE team this evening, and just thank you for your kind words, beautiful words. I can really understand your passion. To the audience tonight, you're in for a treat, I must say, to say the least. I have to start off by sharing a story because I think it's important for people to understand that the work that I have done and continue to do is a life purpose. It is something I've committed my entire life to do, and that is to support creative people through whatever I have access to, whether that is being at the Boston Foundation, whether that is holding city government accountable, whether that is bringing community together. I firmly believe that arts and culture, if it's personified, is a translator of meaning and purpose. And without it, we don't have access to each other. So the urgency of arts and culture, particularly dance, is almost, without it, we can't communicate. We will not be able to understand each other. We will not be able to trade. We will not be able to understand our history. And movement of the body says so much without saying much through your mouth. So I just want to convey to this audience that I am overjoyed, one, to be invited into this room, but to support and amplify and raise the ancestral work that Jean Appolon and his team have done over the years. It takes a lot of courage and commitment to, one, commit to our young people, because they're always growing, there's always different needs, but choosing to utilize dance as a form of convening and challenging and inspiring young people and adults. I salute the team of Jean Appolon Expressions, because it's not easy. It's not easy getting up every single day and choosing to do this work. So I salute you all for this. Being at the Boston Foundation now a year, I must say what has been amazing to uncover is that we have a moment right now to center arts and culture as a core identity of our city. Not a pastime, not something that we do on the weekend, but to really incorporate it into our lives. And knowing that what prevents us from getting there are certain barriers, particularly systematically. And so it's important and very crucial right now that the timeliness of this conversation is to bring about change, solutions, and to understand perspective that's going to get us there. It is important that we hold each other accountable to get us there, to ensure that our culture, to ensure that our heritage, our food, our clothes are not forgotten, but rather celebrated, elevated, and almost monumental in our society. So I'm very, very happy to be here this evening. I am, again, just overjoyed. It is important more now than ever, I think, that for JAE team and for the audience on this virtual convening, and those who couldn't be here tonight, to really lend a hand, to really be in support of this work, because without it, I don't know where Boston or the rest of the world would be without the great folks at JAE team. So thank you this evening. I pass it on to Nineequa Blanding for getting the panel started. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. And thank you, Councilor Ruthzee. Both of you in your opening remarks have given us such a powerful start. So I really appreciate that. And I have the incredible honor of guiding a discussion with Edwidge and John and Raphaëlle. And so with that, I'd like to start with a question to really ground us in the theme, to continue to ground us, excuse me, in the theme of tonight's discussion around hope and healing and connection. And so Edwidge, I'd like to turn to you first, if it's okay, and ask you, why is hope and healing important, particularly among youth? As we think about the Summer Dance Institute, it's really focused on engaging young people. From your perspective, why is this important?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you, to you, to Jean, to Councilor Catherine, and everybody who's here watching now or later. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. So by way of answering the question, I'm trying to remember one summer when I just happened to be in Haiti, and at the Olofsson, and they were setting up for Jean's for the summer program there. And to see all these the young people who had come, it was the final performance. So I didn't get to see all the, you know, sort of the hard work, the sweat and tears that is involved in any art, especially dance. But it was so moving that night to watch that performance. So I know I've watched JAE perform like multiple times, so I know the power of that. So I think it's important, you know, art is something that's very empowering. You heard Jean just say how after his father passed away, and I know that if I did not have my art, if I didn't have my writing, I would be a different person. Because there's something so freeing about being able to express yourself in whatever way it is, and then that having that mode of expression put you in community when you're in pain, when you have joy. It's like, for those of us who practice in our daily, it's like oxygen, it's like breathing. So, you know, so we know we wouldn't be the same person without it. And our young people, whether, you know, they're in inner city in Boston, or certainly in Port-au-Prince or in Santo Domingo, are facing different levels of trauma. And if you pull someone out of that and say, trust your body, it can do beautiful things, that's one more obstacle you put in front of them towards, you know, the other ones that are offered to them, which is trauma. You know, we have a situation in Haiti now where there's going to be so many young people who will have generational trauma because their neighborhoods are, you know, there are the armed groups that are fighting around in their neighborhoods. So there's a way that art, and, you know, and there's so much, I think Haiti, in Haiti, art is somehow linked to the pain, certainly. But there's a way that art heals, you know, sort of moves and transforms. And when we are able to connect that with somebody else, and we are able to move in that space as dance does with other people, it's a very powerful experience, as it was to watch with those children, the way I saw that final performance in Port-au-Prince now, I think maybe 4 years ago.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. And I saw in the comments, someone said something that you said that really resonated with me as well, around trusting your body. And really, you know, the art form itself helps you to ground oneself in that. So thank you so much. I'm wondering if I can look to John and Raphaëlle, if you'd like to add additional commentary or perspective around that.
Yes, hey, Raphaëlle, I'm really happy to be here. It's so beautiful, beautiful people with JAE, and I'm so happy to be part of this family. But there's something that Edwidge said, and like Nineequa just said, and somebody just wrote it on the chat, trust your body. You know, to bring those little young together, taking them out of their house with frustration, school problem, and a lot of problems, and bringing them in this space, knowing other kids, showing them they could do a different thing with their body. They don't need to talk. They don't need to paint. They could just use their body. This is amazing for a kid. And especially JAE brings all level of kids. So that's even amazing. That's even better, to bring all those kids there in a space where they have to express. And this is healing, and this is power. So I think it's really important for them, really, really important. And it gives them hope, you know, to go back home, give them strength to continue the next day, because they need that. So I think it's really important.
I think for me, everything that's already said, I think it brings me back to my childhood, to see a young kid to just come in the room without even knowing how to dance, and just hearing the dance and hearing the instruction of the instructors. And to see that kid just take the risk to just raise your hand, and they just go like that. To me, just that's just magic. And that's the reason why, as a teacher and an instructor or a choreographer, I'm passionate about that connection, that dialogue that I can have with a child or with an adult. Raise your hand, just stretch your arms, leave it stretched, do not put it down. And to see them trying to be like, otherwise asking a question about, I can just give you a story about one young girl who was at the class in Dominican Republic, never smiled the first 2 days. I even said to Raphaëlle and Megan, maybe she's not happy to be here. But I realized also too, those kids came from a harsh place. And when she's not smiling, and I look at her, and sometimes I'm smiling, and she still look like me, like, and she's trying to do the movement. The third day, she came in, and I don't know what happened. There was a huge rain happening, and we were in this little space, but the rain was like heavy, and we had to dance under the rain. And while the rain is happening, and I'm like telling them to shake their bodies, and I'm telling them the movement, and suddenly I look at her, and she went and smiled. First smile after 2 days. And I just said, okay, we have a connection. So to me, that's really what dance brings, that kind of transformative energy of hope. And to me, I think if I didn't have dance, I know for sure I'd be in the street doing something very bad.
It's so beautiful. Just hearing a theme that I'm hearing from all of you is just how powerful and transformative, right? That this art form really brings. And so I want to just dive into that a little bit more. John, as part of the mission you shared with us in the beginning of the session around the mission of JAE is to really share the liberating power of Haitian folkloric dance. Can you share a little bit more around what are the elements of Haitian folkloric dance that allows for cultivating hope and healing?
The elements are a lot. There are many components, from the drums, from the movement, from the different rhythms, from the costumes, from the energy that the dance brings. Because, the dance really came from a rooted tradition. And it's not something that we take lightly. I can tell the first day, I used to see dance on TV with my inspirator, Lavinia Williams, when I was a child. And I was looking at this woman who's African-American, who came from Haiti, heavy accent, and just trying to teach Jean. And she's like telling you, this is the way your arms should be. This is where your head should be. And I'm looking at this woman, and I was maybe 7 or 8. And my father always come and turn off the TV. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this. And my father was like, this is not for you. This is for girls. And you should do other things. So finally, I went to Viviane Gauthier, bless her soul. She was a mentor, a mother. And when I first came into her space, even though it was very like a house-like, but the drum and the way she said, stand straight. And her voice always in your head. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing that I'm around these pioneers and just like strong, powerful women who just speak life into you. And to me, I think that's where I always want to bring not only my kids, but everybody, even people that I just encountered, like Catherine, everybody that I encountered before. I just want to really create that connection, because I feel like the way we bring life to people, even
Yes.
Michelle Legrand has a young child named Ezeli. To see that child trying to copy a choreography that we have named Papa Loco, and to see her every time she hears the music and she just completely forgot if she has to eat or if she has to do anything, and she just lose herself and start dancing like it's like the professional dancers. So to me, I feel like that is what I love about, of course, about JAE, but really about the work that each of us bring into this Lakhu, into this space.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. Thank you, John, for that.
Welcome.
It's the energy is significant. I love how you speak that, you're actually speaking life into others, right? With the movement. I want to invite Edwidge and Raphaëlle, because John, you mentioned it's so important for us to hold our attention to this important point that the folkloric dance is really rooted in tradition, as you've said. And there's so many cultural aspects, right, that that are significant to the art form. And so I really want to just create space for Edwidge and Raphaëlle to share other thoughts related to this.
Actually, I want to ask Jean a question.
Beautiful.
Because I think someone highlighted that phrase, that speak life into you.
Yes.
And I wonder, I've always been fascinated by that connection between trance and dance. And I wonder if that's something you could elaborate a little bit on, like both spiritually, but also in performance.
Oh, you're on mute, John.
Sorry. As you know, Haiti's been stigmatized for centuries. And the energy that we bring into our voodoo roots, into our traditional roots, it's powerful. And as Black people, we bring so much power to this global world. And sometimes people doesn't really understand the energy and the magic that we carry. And to me, I just show that to dance. Anywhere I go, even though you don't have drummers there, I'll make sure that you feel that trends that you said. Because in the performative moment, I want my dancers, even though most of my dancers are not even from Haiti, but they are really well aware of that trends that you just said, that energy of feeling like you are out of your body. Like, you know, there is that you become kind of like a spirit or energy somehow. So that's the work that I'm passionate about. And that's why each of my dancers, I look at them as God and goddesses. Because when I see them because we just start to work in a new project, I'm not gonna say anything about it, but we just start to work on a new project, which is magical. To see the way the dancers just kept that piece of object that we want to use and shaking the body, and sometimes they're like, oh, Jean, I'm afraid that I'm gonna, pop my spine. I said, you're not gonna pop your spine, just breathe and do it. So to me, Edwidge is that kind of trends and that kind of connection that I want my dancers to have with their heart, but also with the energy realm around of us. Because it's not because the dancer is not Haitian, they cannot really animate by this trans spirit, by this energy. I just want them to really breathe and be able to really understand also the culture, because the culture has a lot. Haitian culture has a lot. When I'm working on a new project mostly about Haiti, I really have encouraged my dancers to go on YouTube, to go on any books, to go watch the Vevez, watch the voodoo ceremonies that's happening, to just see what's happening. Because sometimes you do not have to be a voodooisant or a voodoo practitioner to be able to connect to the beauty of Haiti. Beauty of Haiti is not only in the church or in the, in the theaters only. The beauty of Haiti, it's embodied from even walking on the land. Sometimes I'm like getting that trance that you said. Just breathing Haiti for a minute. Sometimes I get to that energy of trance that you say.
I think of it, in terms of even in writing, I think that's why sometimes we have cross-culture, like where you're a vessel for something. And I've always thought like this, it must be so amazing for that to be manifesting through inside your body. So Raphaëlle, as a dancer yourself, like how does that manifest for you?
Well, Jean said everything. For example, when I'm giving class, I like Jean said, with or without drums, you always have to say to your dancers, you're here to take the class. You're not at home. You're not in a class in the university. You're gonna take a dance class. I need you to express whatever you're feeling, sadness, you're mad, you're frustrated, you want to fight. I need you to do it. I need you to express it. Now comes the drummers to play the drums, it adds up and gives you something extraordinary. Whether you know how to dance or not, it will always give you something beautiful, unique, because every dancer, every person is unique, gonna transmit something whatsoever. So me as a dancer, I, whenever I hear the drum, I go crazy. I go crazy. It goes through my vein, like Jean said. Whenever you go to Haiti, you have that smell of Haiti. You feel alive. You feel alive, and it transmits in dancing also. So I think it depends on the person, your energy, what you want to say in the moment. And then if you want to say it louder, your body will scream it louder. So that's how I see it.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Building on that, you all talked about breathing in Haiti and the importance of energy. And so, I think about some of the concepts that students are exposed to in the Summer Dance Institute. John, you've so eloquently talked about the concepts of Lakhu and cultural conexiones, shared connections. And so I'm curious well, first, if I could start with you, Edwidge, when we talk about Lakhu, there's so many different definitions. And we talked about this in our pre-call, the definition when you Google and you look up, it's a shared space, a backyard, a physical space. But as I'm hearing you all talk about the sort of the trance that a dancer begins to embody, that there's some spiritual elements to that as well. And so I'm curious to each of you, how would you define Lakhu? And if I could start with you, Edwidge, that'd be great.
Well, I was in one of the images where everyone was standing in a circle. That reminded me of a kind of Lakhu, like what was created within that moment, right? I think of a Lakhu as an ancestral space. It's kind of, to this day, if I go back where my parents come from in Beauséjour, all I have to say, I'm like, from the Lakhu, this Lakhu, right? Like, and people will know where to guide me. So I think of it as an ancestral space, as a cultural space, in some ways also, and an agricultural space, because it was associated with initially more rural areas, but really a place where you can, where, like as my grandma used to say, mothers would breastfeed other people's children. Like if someone had to go away, it was like we all had milk, but like my mother had many milk mothers, for example, and they're like, who is this? The sense of community that I think has really made up for absence of state and all these other, lack of support. Like, you can count on your neighbor. And it's something that even in diaspora, I live in Little Haiti. Initially, when I moved here, I was very surprised that people, if they were leaving home, because sometimes people don't have money for childcare, they would say voyager, and the child was there in the house, and voyager. And so there are elements of that too that have traveled with us if we're lucky. I lived in a building like that when we moved from Haiti, where we were in an apartment, we knew everybody, and you're voyager, and you better not go out, like they would know. So I think it's a beautiful communal, sense of community that in some places we've brought with us. I see people who are in migrant communities here who live in that way because in many ways they have to, because they need one another. They have and we have to rely on one another.
Absolutely. That shared connection is so important. John or Raphaëlle, how would you define Lakhu personally?
Well, for me, Lakhu, I would leave the voodoo Lakhu for Jean to explain. But for me, the Lakhu since I was a kid, because I danced with Jean Santos, who has Hardcore Dance, Aiko Dance now. Lakhu is where, for me, where everybody gets together, eat, dance, share special moments, especially, you know, calling, let's say the calling of the spirits to thank them. That's what Lakhu means to me. So whenever in a dance perspective, when I'm on stage and we have like a lot of dancers on stage, we call it the Lakhu moment, because we're there together and we're expressing ourselves and we're giving all the energies. That's for me is Lakhu. But like you said, like Edwidge said, Lakhu has so many variations for each and one of us. So that's what Lakhu means for me. Jean.
Lakhu, thank you, Raphaëlle, for this beautiful description. But Lakhu for me, it's really, as Edwidge and also Raphaëlle just mentioned, it's a space where you feel safe. It's a space where you feel like you have roots in it. But at the same time, JAE became a Lakhu in Boston because I felt like I had to bring this sense of Lakhu to the place where I'm living, because a lot of people, even from the dance class, when you come to the dance class, you feel it's a Lakhu, because sometimes the class finishes at 3 o'clock and the next teacher is going to be teaching, or there's a rehearsal after us, and people are still laying down and feel like, I just want to stay here because this is heaven. This is the energy that I want to stay for the rest of my life. And sometimes we have to be like, oh, you know, we have 5 minutes until we, you know, move out of the building. So to me, that's always the Lakhu. It's like creating space where people feel very safe, feel comfortable, feel like they can find their healing. And of course, in Haiti, as Raphaëlle mentioned, in the Voodoo tradition, a Lakhu, there's many Lakhu where people belong, where people get initiated, or where people practice. So to me, I feel like that's the beauty of what makes me Haitian. It's knowing that, you know, I have a Lakhu, I have a home, I have a space where I can be safe, but also I can invite people to be safe also too.
Yes, yes. And you're creating that space for all to enjoy across all identities and abilities, which is just so powerful. I have to admit, I probably have been one of those students that did not want to leave your class. You know, I saw Catherine in the comments talk about the drums, and oh my goodness, it's just the energy that you create, the vibrations of the drums. It's just immediately healing, and it's just such a beautiful thing. So building on that, you know, you're creating a safe space for expression for youth. And really, I think what's so beautiful about your work, John, is at JAE is that you're really bridging connections between the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and the US. This was a special year in that this was the first year where programming for the Summer Dance Institute happened in the Dominican Republic. And I want to look to you, Raphaëlle, given, you know, your role in being such a key partner in this work, if you could share some of your perspective, like what are some of the beautiful cross-cultural connections that you've seen among the artists and the students that were part of the program?
Well, I have to tell you, Nineequa, that was one of the best experience I have ever had in my life, to tell you the entire truth. So seeing those kids speaking Spanish and the staff speaking English, and the Haitian girls came in speaking Creole. So I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be difficult. But my surprisingly, everything flew. And everybody got to communicate, even the kids. They were so happy to have teachers speaking English, but they don't understand, but they were like so focused, so happy. And the blend, the sync was natural. natural. Me from far, looking from far and being in the team also, but being from far, looking at the big picture was amazing, especially when we're talking about kids that comes from, again, like we're saying at the beginning, kids that are difficult, has difficulties in their lives, and then they come in this moment where they're like, oh, I hope that I have a teacher that speaks Spanish, but that speaks English. Or they were so natural. They were really happy to have that, but unfortunately it was 1 week. But but no, it was really amazing, really amazing. It was natural. That's the word. It was natural. Beautiful.
So beautiful. And although it was a short period of time, right? You talked about the transformation that happens in such a short period of time too. Like I think about, John, your description of the young girl that was in the program and smiled on day 3. It's just so beautiful to see that, to bear witness, I'm sure, of that transformation. It's great. I'm curious, you talked about the importance of energy earlier, and the vibrancy of Haiti. And I'm curious if you could share from your perspective the vibrancy that you see among the artists in Haiti and across the African diaspora. And so if I could start with you, Edwidge, if you could share your perspective there, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, well, this is making the discussion, especially when Jean brought up Lavina Williams. I started thinking about Catherine Dunham.
Yes.
And who I got to meet really later in her life. They had a tribute to her really close to the time where she passed away at Symphony Space in New York. And I got to meet her and I got to read a passage from her book, that one of the Haiti passages. And so it made, I think back as you all were talking and having the children come together, sort of what a Mecca, Haiti, the physical space was for creators, for dancers, for writers, right? And they would go and like Catherine Dunham, she to the end of her life was like protesting, was Haiti was so much a part of her. And when you read like Langston Hughes talking about walking, he felt like the people he walked with in Haiti, what he called the barefoot people, were like his people, like his grandparents. And so I think that connection, that's the power of art, right? Especially art like the kind of work that Jean's doing that comes through a kind of this ancestral line, right? That is a kind of bridge for us in the modes of communication. And there was something so powerful about Haiti that drew these people on almost like a necessary spiritual, but also artistic pilgrimage. And now you're introducing it to younger people. I think that's really strong because, and we need, especially in these conflicted spaces, Haitian kids have their idea of what Dominican kids are like. Dominican kids, even if they share some, common ancestry, especially and I've been in that situation, with my children on the border or something, and where they don't understand each other, and so I think because they inherited, and I would dare say more the Dominican kids, because there's somewhere more that constant awareness, but they inherit these ideas that that their parents have about what Haiti is, what Haitians are. So this is a really wonderful way to bridge, because the fact that they came together and participated in this common cultural activity redefines what a person is in your eyes. It's going to be very hard for that person to hear prejudice the same way. So I think that's I think that's a powerful connection. And the whole experience of enslavement, the whole experience of that whole thing was meant to splinter us, to destroy us, but also to splinter us. And sometimes, you know, all these small things that we do, these ways that we bridge with one another, we're sort of putting little, you know, we're healing the cracks, you know, in our own way. And I think that's a powerful way to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. John, if I can look to you to share, because you know what I think is so powerful about what Edwidge, what you just said, when you call out Lavinia Williams and Langston Hughes and Catherine Dunham, they're also huge influencers of social change, right? And so I'm curious from your perspective, John, you know, if you could describe the vibrancy that you see, and also just draw from, you know, now all these young people that you are engaging with, you know, the success stories that you're seeing as they are becoming more comfortable with their expression through this program, and you know, really embodying their power as social change agents. If you could share a little bit about that.
To me, I just feel like dance become really the mecca, as Edwidge just said it, of the world, because you see kids on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, everybody's doing some kind of movement, but very naturally, and people are starting to create something. And to me, I feel like since 2006, that's what I really wanted to see happen, to have kids move, to have adults move. And now we have kids who participate in our program. Maybe they came in 2011, 2008, 2009. Now we have their own dance studio in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And some of those adults even came all the way to the Dominican Republic when we were there last month to join the class. And there's a young boy, there's many stories. I'm telling you, it could take all night. This boy came and I'm like, this boy is moving like crazy, because Raphaëlle brought us to a dance studio in Dominican Republic to teach a open masterclass for everybody. And I have tons of kids who showed up, you know, adults showed up, and we started dancing. And this boy came to me after the class. He said, "Mr. John, you don't remember me." I'm like, "Where do I know you from?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm from Haiti, but I'm from Jacmel. And you came to teach a class in 2013 or 2012 in Jacmel. And I was so skinny, and I was like a little boy, and I don't think you remember me." And I'm like, "Oh my God, tell me your name." And he said his name, and he's like, "Oh, I was really in love with dance, but I was not able to dance then. But now I'm moving in the Dominican Republic. I've been here since a year ago, but I don't have any place to teach, to take dance class like this. Are you moving to Dominican Republic, Mr. Jean?" I'm like, "No, I'm not moving to Dominican Republic, but we will be here next year to continue teaching. But you should be teaching a dance class there. There's no drummers." And he's like, "No, it's just there's so many craziness that's happening, but I'm here because Haiti is not safe, so I'm here." So for me, I feel like this is amazing that this young boy who danced with us many, many years ago, and completely passionate and a fierce dancer, and who came to class and you just feel like so amazed to just move his body and feel like he's reconnecting to his roots again. And to me, that's the energy that I truly I live even when I feel that I'm having a bad day in Boston. Anytime I'm thinking about those moments with those kids, I just feel like, okay, no bad days. Let me just go outside. Let me do my workout. Let me just go and focus on my work, because there's so much those kids give you to heal yourself as an instructor, or as somebody who's pushing for justice.
Yes, absolutely. I thank you for that. I want to create space for folks in the audience. If you have questions, please add them to the chat. I love the exchange that I am seeing in the chat box, and you know, folks are lifting up quotes from all of you across the panel that resonates with them. So thank you, audience, for being so engaged with us. If you have questions that you'd like to pose to the panelists, you know, please do share. And while folks are gathering their thoughts and questions, I can ask, you know, John, from your perspective, you know, what there's so many qualities. Thank you, Anita. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to pause my thought and We have our co-host, one of our co-hosts, Anita Morrison-Matra, who has lifted up a question for us. Can you share more on the elements of Haitian folkloric dance that allows for healing and mind-body connection? So I'm gonna leave that open to among the three of you who would like to share more on the elements there.
The elements are very, very, I don't know, complex, but also there are so many elements. There are elements of because a lot of people think like Haitian doesn't meditate, or there's a lot of meditation into Haitian folklore. And when you're starting to do that value, I can tell you, I'm just hoping that Councilwoman Ruthzee and many other people here, Catherine, everybody here in Boston who really hold beautiful spaces can really help us, JAE, to bring authentic drummers, other dancers from Dominican Republic, from Haiti, to come here for like maybe, let's say, a week and a half. That's all I can just tell you, because this could be very magical to really witness the drum. I think Catherine created that space with amazing thing that she created when we came 2 months ago to teach at her event, and to see the drummers who came all the way from Haiti who were playing with another band, but just like ran from New Jersey, drove here and started playing the drums, and everybody in the park just went into us and just completely forgot about the rest of things that was happening in the park. So for me, I feel like this is a week of that. Could be amazing to have a retreat like this in Boston and have live drummers, other dancers like Raphaëlle and Edwidge coming in with her poem, everybody from Haiti coming in here, and just share that feeling that we're talking about, that energy that we're talking about. Because for me, I feel like when you witness it, Anita, as you came to class before, it's just the elements of like that healing that you're talking about. It's that energy of like feeling safe, feeling like the dance really brings you to another dimension. And that dimension is that healing that you feel. Like sometimes people cry in my class, or sometimes people will fall out in my class, and people's like, oh my God, this is scary. People are falling, like rolling, like possessed in your class. And I'm like, this is not scary, honey. This is that transformation that's happening. Because sometimes even me, I look at my kids sometimes, I can tell you, the day before the last, I'm just sitting there and watching the kids dance. I couldn't deal with it. To see like in a week that we have those kids moving with value, and they so invested in it. I couldn't deal with it to know that I have to leave this group of kids, 65 or 67 kids we had. I have to leave them to just say goodbye, and I might see them in a year or another 2 years. So to me, that kind of healing, that's what we're talking about, Anita. For you to feel like, whoa, I've been touched. I've been rebirthed. That's the kind of feeling that I have.
Absolutely. And I'm hearing a theme, that theme is really connection. That exchange of energy, that connection with one another, and sharing that in the physical space with one another is just that's really creating pathways, right, for that healing that you just talked about, John. It's great. Other thoughts related to that question, and if not, it's okay. I want to create room for another question that was raised by another co-host of ours, Shiroz Walker. But other thoughts around elements that you want to lift up, elements of the Haitian folkloric dance that creates healing.
I mean, I just to sort of in the way Jean opened it up to this notion of TikTok, it
Yes.
hit me that sometimes I watch people in the supermarket and they're kind of doing, they're doing TikTok-like movements. And this idea now that it is true, everybody's dancing in some way. Like a lot of young people are dancing in these little frames, they're following dances. And I wonder, this is kind of it's unfair that it's a question because I'm jumping ahead of someone else, but I wonder if have you seen movement in that space, whether in the Dominican Republic or in the US, of kids doing Haitian dances on TikTok?
A lot, a lot, a lot. And there is now even like people will go to voodoo ceremonies and like you see them moving in full ceremony and sharing it on TikTok. So there is a lot of interaction happening when it comes to dance. There are a lot of cross-cultural dancing movement that's happening all over TikTok. So I feel like people, my God, sometimes I'm like looking at somebody who's very poor in Haiti and still have a TikTok account and sharing, everything that they do. And like when it comes to dance or ceremonies that they went through or dance class they went through. So to me, I'm very blessed with all this media connections that we can have to share all these things that we would like to share.
Yes, yes. And speaking of connections through media, if there are folks that are on this call that are not physically in Massachusetts, you still have the opportunity to join in and experience the magic that is JAE, in that some of the classes are virtual. And so me not being in Boston physically right now, I very much appreciated the opportunity to connect virtually in that way. So thank you, John, and the team for all of the great work that you've done to really maintain those connections and to maintain the Lakhu that you've created, as you've shared, virtually, even throughout the pandemic. It's been wonderful. In our last 10 minutes, I really want to leave room and space for all of you to answer this question. So Shiroz has lifted up, if you can share your vision for a future in which the world prioritizes the arts and cultivating creative expression, particularly among youth across all identities. If the world was prioritizing these things, what would it look and feel like to you? What would be your personal vision for that?
Well, well, for me, it would be, it would be something amazing because, for example, JAE brings kids, all kinds of genders, all kinds of nations. You're in this space. You're sharing. You don't know how to speak the language, but you still communicate with dance. And at the end of that project, you do a mini show where everybody's together. This is amazing because at the end of the entire project, I'm no longer Haitian. She's no longer Dominican. She's no longer American, but we all would be citizens of the planet. We wouldn't have any nation. It wouldn't be Haitian versus Dominican. It wouldn't be US versus, no, it would be just one whole entire group of young, beautiful kids, because we have to say that the kids, they are the future. So if we touch them with our little baguette magique and we make it happen, we will have kids of the world, not separate. And it will be, I hope that we get to do that because we need that in this world, to have, just one big whole family, we can say. And art, if we get to do that, it will be amazing. We'll have a better world, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree completely with Raphaëlle. I think, art builds community, right? And in many ways can also heal communities. I was on a panel with an artist from Montreal named Manuel Mathieu, and he was asked that question, and he reminded us of this powerful thing. Well, he says, in Haiti, we do that, right? Like, we build communities through art, like whether, what do people do when they want to like pass in a message? Your phone, yes, you know, they put in a little theatrical thing. There's dancing that's in community, there's dancing in the rara, and he pointed that out, and I thought, you know, that is very powerful. Even in the visual art, it's such a powerful way of building community, such a a way to build bridges, and artists can be ambassadors no matter what their art, as you know, as you're doing at JAE. So I think a world that moves more in that direction of starting very early with young people, and where they're still participating in art, not as, you know, as a capitalist transaction, at least not at that point, but as a way of communication, as a way of building community, I think is very powerful. But sadly, at least in this state, I live in Florida, it's moving in the other direction. Art is removed from, you know, from schools and other activities like that. But it's actually should be going in the other way.
I think for me, I feel like building bridges, I think we all said it, to build a whole global connection. That's what I would like to really continue to build. And that's what I would like to see happen. But still, for people to really hold their culture and their tradition wherever they're from, but to feel very open to share. Because I feel like that's what, when I share with a kid about Haitian tradition, I don't want them to forget about their culture. Or when I share my dance with the communities in Boston who came from all over the place, even my dance company, we have dancers from South Africa, from Connecticut, from China, from many parts of the world who come in. And of course, we become one, but we still have our own identity. But at the same time, I think that kind of booster JAE creates is a booster to feel confident of how you can share you with the world. And that, I think that's what I want to continue to do as an artist. And that's the mission that I'm so passionate with JAE. When we talk, we don't talk about we talk about we. But we talk about we because each of us brings something very, very beautiful to this world. And I want to continue to cherish it. And I want to continue to expose it on stage and everywhere we go, to just continue to share with everybody in the world.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm hearing such beautiful responses from all of you. Edwidge, I love what you said in terms of art builds community, and it also can heal communities, and you know, that should be prioritized as we think about our collective well-being. And Raphaëlle, you talked about understanding our connection, our shared connection across outside of our racial or ethnic identities and how we identify. And you know, John, I'm hearing, you know, building bridges is so important, and also knowing your connections with others, but also having an understanding and being rooted in the power within yourself is so important. And so thank you to all three of you for sharing your vision for the world and what it would look like if we prioritize, which we need to, and conversations like this help to contribute to that. So I just want to pause for a moment and see if there's any final questions in our last few minutes. We have some comments of gratitude to all of you for sharing your perspective. I do want to say thank you to our co-hosts, Anita Morrison-Martra, Sharose Walker, and Joel Cassell that are here in the room with us today. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you to all of you in the audience for such a lively engagement. It's really beautiful to see all of the comments that have come through during this time. I want to be mindful of everyone's time, and that we are scheduled to end at 7 o'clock. But I would like to just, again, thank all of you for your time. I'd like to ask you all, if you are moved by what you've heard today, if you believe in the power of arts and culture to really foster healing and hope, I would like to ask that you please consider donating to JAE to support the Summer Dance Institute. Every donation counts, every level of contribution plays an important role in helping the team at JAE continue to really do this important work. So thank you all. Thank you all. Edwidge, thank you so much. Raphaëlle and John.
Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful moderation.
Yes.
Thank you
Amazing
so much,
job.
Nineequa, for your beautiful moderation. And thank you, each of us co-hosts, hosts, everybody here. I want to say really thank you. Thank you so very much. You all, JAE Dance Company, I want to say thank you to you all for all your hard work, all the administrative, all the board members, everybody. Michelle DeGraff, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.